Charged in a quadruple murder is appearing and appealing the county's court's finding that enough evidence existed to her for that murder.
Today, defense attorney Doug Stratton filed a plea in abatement. In that document, Stratton claims the state failed to establish probable cause, showing Carrie Jones aided her husband, Jason Jones, in the killing of Gene Twyford in his Laurel home back on August 4th. Stratton also claims the state failed to present any complete evidence that the crime Carrie Jones is accused of committing was actually committed. The prosecution alleges Gene, Janet, and Dana Twyford were killed in their home in the 500 block of Elm Street in Laurel. They say Michelle Ebeling was killed at her home in the 200 block of Elm Street just 9 minutes later. The state alleges Carrie Jones wasn't present at the time of the killings, but that she aided Jason Jones by removing burnt clothing, tending to his wounds, and hiding the fact that he told her about the killings. The judge will hear arguments on the plea from both sides during a hearing on Monday in Cedar County District Court. Also on Monday, Carrie Jones will be arraigned on charges of first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and being an accessory to a felony. If the judge grants Jones's plea, the charges would be dismissed.